Yeah. If people complain, we'll switch to cans, but not a big deal right now.
Not a huge D.
We're live.
We
Let's comment.
live.
There's some comments. I was not on the comments page, so Beresford, greetings from the UK. Cheers,
Good
brother.
eye.
OG Kwasi, greetings from
OG
Germany.
Kwasi.
We got another Germany. I've never seen that name. OG Kwasi. Is there like rip-off Kwasis where you're the OG? Just curious, asking for a friend. Steve Schnetzler. Hello from Cologne.
Schnitzler.
Greetings from planet Earth, also the UK. I like it, UK. Cheers, brother. Orve.
Are we
Jan.
not? Are we not on planet Earth? Did we move?
Hello there, Canada and Oz. Dylan's not in Oz at the moment.
Yeah, I am. I am not.
From
I come bearing fresh fruits from Oz.
The
not literally Canadian customs.
The thumbnail I was figuring might. I wonder if it's one of those scenarios. I say down under on the
down under.
thumbnail. Does it offend anyone? That's the question.
Hey, that's a good question. I don't know. I didn't say that while I was down there, unless I really knew somebody. Nobody seemed to have a bad reaction to it.
Yeah, or like that shrimp on the Barbie. I'm always been curious.
I did say at one point, we have an executive leadership-y type meeting, as one does, and at one point I said to I forget who I said it to, if it was one of the Peters or if it was Damien, but I was like, oh yeah, that's good. It sounds like a crocodile done deal. And I don't think I ever want to say that again around that audience. I may be one limb shorter if I say that again.
Yeah, that's awesome. OG Kwasi says the OG is basically something meaningless from 20 years ago. Yeah, that OG, man, is that 20 years old? Damn.
Original gangsta.
Jan says, by the way, did you know a lot of us Swedes consider Rode a Swedish brand thanks to Friedman's family background? As you should.
And the little slash through the O. That was the whole point of the slash through the O, is to make it kind of feel more European, which I kind of laughed because when I always saw the O, I always associated it with like, I've got it on my chest. I always associate it with like the invert phase or invert polarity symbol. So I was like, oh, that's cool, a little audio reference. And then like years later, find out it has absolutely nothing to do with the phase invert symbol.
That's amazing.
Happy accident. Happy accident.
Your building is having some interesting power delivery at the moment. You can hear the power delivery kind of fight in, and then you all of a sudden you stop. Everything on your stream stops, and then you come back. It's really interesting.
I have a voltage regulator, so
interesting. Is your internet?
Oh, I am also. We just got a new console, so I'm network transferring, so that's chewing up probably a decent amount of the LAN. Which, I mean, if I had like a 10 gigabit modem, it wouldn't be as big an issue. But I think it's like I've seen it where, especially you can tell when the source console, which is an Xbox One S, when it's cached a huge chunk of a game, you can tell because the speed will jump up to like 600 megabits, and then you'll see it slow down to like 12 megabits, and you're like, all right, it's caching. Yep. How pathetic. The hard drive of the source console is the bottleneck.
Liberty Dude wants to know where down under. Sydney.
Down under.
Down under.
It's
an
awesome accent, man. I love hanging around people. I got complimented on my accent. That was the first time in my life where I've had anybody say anything good objectively about the stuff. But then, again, as I was saying to Aiden, it was my first time in a place that doesn't just naturally have some form of American English as their home base. So, that was fun.
See, and that's an interesting conversation because most of the places you go in the Northern Hemisphere view the Canadian accent, or at least neutral. Yeah, the neutral Canadian accent is considered to be kind of a dorky, kind of a goofy, hey there, eh? There's always
right there, bud.
There's always been a little bit of a stigma on it, but when you go south of the equator, which I've done a few times, been to Peru, I mean, or even like when we were in Morocco, people will notice and they're like, oh, that's a cool accent. You go to the UK, everyone's like, oh, you're Canadian. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. UK wants to know if you have new road merch from your trip. Did you bring anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had to military roll my clothes into my luggage bag because I could I got too much. Like I was taken over to the marketing building, and Damien's assistant Lydia was like, who kind of runs a lot of the high level stuff there. And Lydia was like, "Do you want? Oh, you like you want to? Do you have any shirts? You want a shirt?" I'm like, "Oh, I already had them send me some t-shirts and stuff." And she's like, "Oh, how about a coat? Here's a coat. We have a coat. How about we have big long sleeve sweater. Here's a I'm not wearing it. This is kind of the normal esque kind of breast emblem shirt, which is a nice shirt. It's a good long
Yeah.
sleeve, feels good. I'm not usually a fan of companies that have the whole on the arm thing. It feels a little bit too, to me, but I don't know, whatever. I got used to it. Um,
I like
they have a
if they're
maybe
gonna have. Sorry, what?
I was just gonna say they have a colored logo shirt as well that they don't make anymore. That's got the big colored RODE at the back. Maybe I'll wear it next. That's my favorite one, I think, because it's different. It's a different design.
I like if you're gonna put the name or something on the arm, I want it to be like a slogan, so
Right.
it
Yeah,
can
not just the name.
Liberty dude. Oh yeah, sorry. Don Bollock says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. How's you going, Don?"
G-Day.
Liberty wants to know if you got a rib off the Barbie. Thought it was a shrimp off the Barbie.
I've learned a lot about Aussie culture. Fish and chips. They don't fuck around with fish and chips. They don't screw around with IPAs. Not as good in my opinion. I'm not normally an IPA guy. Seattle IPA is still for me. Like when I go to Seattle and I only drink IPAs. For those that
Yeah.
have never been West Coast IPAs, it's very much a thing. Again, coming from somebody who here I don't touch. Actually, I had an IPA at Pearson Airport when I was kind of transferring to come home. It was okay, but nothing compared to the Aussie, and certainly nothing compared to the Seattle IPAs. Also, coffee. Australia is very serious about their coffee. Lots of espresso while I was there. Everybody at Rhodes seems to learn how to make espresso when they are 8. I I have never by hand myself made an espresso in my life, so that was brutal.
So
that,
are
that
you
was,
saying The Simpsons lied to us about that? Coffee? Yeah. No, coffee. Yeah.
I don't know. It might not be all of Australia thing, but everyone that I spoke to, in and outside the company, even just regular places that we would go to there. Maybe we just happen to always go to fancy places. I don't know. It's possible. But I did talk to a few people that said in certain parts of Australia, they have a vibrant coffee culture.
Oh, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
fish and
Yeah,
chips.
yeah.
I think I had a burger every day of the week. Dude, maybe I'll put a picture of this on the Discord. There was a burger called the Blame Canada burger. um, and it was like the first on this menu. I forget the pub. I'll have to find the name of it. But it was just me and the chief technology officer, Peter Schillebeck. We're out having a pint and a burger. And it was the Blame Canada burger. It had obviously like a double patty, I believe, had some obviously your usual, your onions, your tomatoes, your lettuce, whatever. It had maple streaky bacon on it, and
Ooh.
it had maple aioli, and it had
Oh,
a
nice.
poutine on the burger.
Hmm.
It was awesome. It was amazing. I don't know, man. It resonated with me. I finished that burger. I said, as a Canadian, I will happily take the blame for this dish. This is 100%. You didn't need a side with it. I literally just had the burger and like probably 4 beers. Um, more than enough loaves of bread there to satiate a walrus.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
the Blame Canada burger was pretty lit. So they had burgers, fish and chips, coffee, and of course, yeah, just the general omnipotence of beer. There are lots of beer was had a great margarita. Great team over at Road. I love those folks. They're really smart people. And it was fast paced. It was an environment. Mackey's fast paced in kind of its own very scientific and technical ways, but Road they operate at a certain speed, and you got to keep up. The jet lag combined with the constantly like darting from one thing to another. It was a lot, but I'm definitely kind of craving it. I can't wait to do it again. A little road sprint, a little Australia sprint.
Yeah. Or Jan says the slash through the O is very Danish. We do the umlaut. Crazy Wabbit. Just got back from Sydney on vacation. Fun time, great beaches, warm weather. Oh, I saw 40 degrees while Dylan was on his way back.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah. Well, one of the days we were on our way to get Thai food. Also fantastic Thai food.
yeah.
Australia, there's a good population there that indulges in such, and so that was good. But we looked at the temperature on the car sensor, and it was 46 degrees. Came
Oh
back, it
my
was like
God.
almost minus that.
Uh,
Yeah, very different.
but Crazy Wabbit says he's not a fan of Christmas and summer. I'm sorry. Um,
I'll be
I'm
honest,
biased.
it was interesting. It was really surreal walking around seeing Christmas decorations everywhere. I'm in like as little clothes as possible because it's so freaking hot. It was not what I'm used to experiencing as a northern hemispherian. It is not what I'm used to, that's for sure.
Northern Hemispherian. Andrew says, "Where's Dylan's? I survived Australia, but now I'm freezing my tits off in Canada
I
t-shirt."
will say this, Sydney airport sucks. There there are so many like people choke points where there's just a sea of people stuck in a particular area, and you're like, why? And once you go through it, once you know, like my issue was, I didn't know that you had to go through customs to leave the country, and
Oh
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
was a bit of a shock because with the States, they do that at the gate. It's like integrated into the boarding process, whereas there
It
it's
de-
like a separate step where you've got to go through this corral.
Were you going back through the U.S. from Australia?
Nope, straight to Canada.
Oh, you went straight to Canada, because I know
Yeah,
sometimes, like when you're going back through the
pre-clear.
U.S., they
Yeah, yeah, they
make
would
you
make you
actually
pre-clear.
clear U.S. customs before you get on the plane too. So
Yeah, US does their pre-clear. Well, even in Canadian airports, right? Like if I'm boarding to go to US flight, but no, my flight was straight from SYD to YVU in Vancouver.
yeah, that's a flight. Crazy Wabbit says the alcohol was not very strong. I needed to find a
YVR,
Mexican
sorry.
restaurant to get it right. Oof. And how about the wildlife? That's a good question. OG Kwasi. Any wildlife? You running
I
into
was
any
in
spiders?
No, I was in I stayed at this place in downtown Sydney called the Fraser Suites, like a little apartment hotel kind of thing. I was in the thick of the city all the time. The Opera House is gorgeous. I will say that.
Mm.
Spent 2 nights over there. Randomly bumped into a couple from Nunavut.
Oh
What the
wow.
fuck are the odds? Yeah, now I'm like, wow, this is a lot different than home, right? And they're like, yeah, we did not pack light enough. I'm like, yeah, join the club. I said, you know what? I could get through like whatever. I've experienced 32-degree weather before, whatever. When I saw like most of the week was actually pretty mild. In fact, the beginning of the week, there was a nice kind of chilly ocean breeze, which
Oh
my
nice.
body's acclimatized to cold. So me and the British fella that I was kicking around with was like, it's fucking cold. I'm like, I'm fine. Actually, this is, it's like when I was in Seattle in February and they're all in like 4 layers and I'm coming from minus 38 and it's like 6 degrees. I'm like, man, this is t-shirt, man. This is easy.
Yeah, it was like Nevada in April when we were there, and everybody's like got a jacket on, and me and Dylan are walking around in t-shirts and shorts. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, this
Yeah.
is
We're like, oh,
this is not
this
cold, guys.
well, it's like your body gets used to it, right? Like they say the reason why the first hot day of the year feels the hottest is because your body's in like cold mode up until that point.
Yeah.
And so, but if you're working outside in construction all day and your body is just acclimatized to that outdoor temperature, it's brutal still, but it's not as brutal as like living your life in, 20-degree weather and going up to suddenly 35. And you're like,
So did you catch any of the live stream from last week of me building the PC?
I did actually. It was Saturday morning for me, and I was driving to the airport while I was watching your stream. That's how weird that is. I was literally in the car on the way to the airport to go through that clusterfuck. Yeah, I caught a little bit of the build and some of the comments, but I had to obviously hustle once you get to the airport.
That was the first time, Dylan, I never hit the post. Nice. I've always hit post, like when you turn the computer on. And
you get the power on self-test.
Yeah, and but I didn't do the initial test on the box with the motherboard. I just threw it in the case and I went and I pressed the button. Nothing happened. That's never happened to me where I haven't gotten to the BIOS off of an initial build. So I'm a little like I'm a little weirded out by that, but I ended up getting it. I don't exactly know what the problem was. If I was slightly unseated one of the plugs in the back of the power supply, but I pulled the power supply out and it turned on. Put the power supply back in, it turned off. And I'm like, okay, there's there's something wrong with the seating here. So I like pulled the thing out, turned it off completely, and I kind of really jammed the plugs in. But it felt like maybe one of the plugs was hitting something in the seating, and so it was just jarring it off, so it wasn't powering the motherboard. But
This is,
yeah,
I honestly, when the modular power supplies first came out, like the cable management part of me is like, oh, awesome! I don't have to put any of the cables in that I don't need. But then like, there's twice the amount of connections that you have to constantly verify, and especially like I'm really bad, especially with some of those angles. Like I'm usually
yeah,
pretty good at trying to wire in the power supply like in order from back to front, so I'm not like awkwardly trying to squeeze by a bunch of connections to get shit in there. But like sometimes, like I don't know, you'll add something in after that you forgot about to plug in that order. So you're like, fuck, and then you've got to inch the connector into the hole, and it doesn't clip in, and then I don't know. I've totally
yeah.
had that
It's
happen though. Not. I'm usually lucky that I catch them before I do that first button press. But for me, it's usually the motherboard headers. I plugged in the fucking pins wrong on the headers for the power button and all of that shit.
I thought it was because the pinout was weird on this board, and the pinout wasn't necessarily clear in the board manual. So I was like
I
kind
hate
of
that.
yeah, I was kind of jumping, no pun intended, between two pinouts, and I figured it out. I don't think the case LEDs are working properly, so I don't think they're pinned properly. But um, all in all, it's working great. And like I've been playing through RDR2, which I'm trying to get
I
through Red Dead Redemption 2 before I buy another game because that's been on my list to finish for a long time, and I left it at like 50% played through. And I went to go get my save, and yeah, it's gone. So I have to play from the very
Oh
beginning.
shit.
So I'm kind of trying to race through the game without doing side content. Andrew wants to know, have I gone developing core strategies to manage your number one fans? No, but I do have part of that. So I'm 99% done writing. I'm just finishing up with the last script, and then I'm going to be shooting that over the next few weeks. Um, the a lot of the content is around dealing. Yes, there is dealing with people and what not to give away, what not to kind of do. But it's tough because number one fans are always a different scenario. Everyone number one fan, the guy that shows up at your house or tracks you down at the mall is going to be different from the person that just buys all your merch. So, but yeah, I mean it's an interesting concept, but no, I don't have anything like that in there. But it's also going to be a course that'll be expanded on as I go. Outsider Jess, I got a wireless typewriter keyboard for my new iPad. Those
Nice.
things are expensive, but they're awesome. Now we got a couple Australia questions, or well, Bloody Cactus is just a statement. In Australia, all XLR cables need to be plugged in upside down. That is well known.
Like the drains.
And Rick on Mike wants to know, did you check the toilets to see if the water goes the other way, Dylan?
I did. Yeah, I did do that actually. And it would be great if I paid literally any fucking attention to the way that the water goes in this country. I can't say that I've ever made note of the clockwise, counterclockwise. I do believe that at some point I saw a video where a physicist was explaining that doesn't actually happen. You can actually get the water to go either way, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really seem to have a default preference. But I did watch it. I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? And then I was like, wait a minute, I have nothing to compare this to. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then
Calling home, you're like, can you
I
flush
was
the
like,
toilet?
oh,
I want to
Keith could
watch.
send it to me, but I'm like, I was like, oh, my partner could send it to me, but then I'm like, oh, but then I don't know if their camera's being like mirrored or not, and so I wouldn't be able to know like, is that like? I was like, ah, fuck it, I'm not caring.
Liberty Dude, number one fans want to keep you locked away, tied to a bed. I haven't run into any of those. I've run into several people that know me outside of the studio, not near my house, thank God. Actually, one was relatively near to my house at a Canadian Tire, which is a automotive store close to where I live. But everybody's been really cool. The beauty of it is I'm not like well, I'm a guy. I'm a big burly guy, and I look like I'm a big burly guy that isn't easy to take down. So I doubt anyone's going to be able to get me locked to their bed. If they do, make sure they're furry handcuffs, please. Um, I don't. Jess, this one is kind of piece of garbage. It was $26, but works, and I'm using it until I can get the $40 one. Yeah, the one that is the Apple keyboard is really, really nice, but yeah, the prices are ridiculous. Andrew says water is a myth. However, weather systems are the opposite by hemisphere. That is true. When I went to Peru, I think that's when I was like, oh man, it's all a myth about the water. Um, the things I had, the struggle I had was like we were in a playground on December 20th. Well, my kid was like riding down a slide, and then we like flew back to Canada, and we were in like 3-foot snowbanks. That was probably the hardest part about traveling south of the equator. My brain doesn't really deal with that change. Like you go from like summer to, and I've never been the guy that travels in the winter because it's not like
Well,
we're not
I
snowbirds.
think up until planes, which is a real recent thing in human evolution. If you knew that or not, it's not natural. It would never be natural to go from like even what we did in April, where like you and I were walking around in shirts and like t-shirts and shorts, and then I was like FaceTiming people back home, and it's like a blizzard, and I'm like, this doesn't compute. Like,
No.
that this is the same time. This just doesn't compute for me.
Yeah, it's something your brain does have a difficulty with, which is weird. Like
Well,
we
because
have my
normally in normal, like most regions of the world, that's a sensitive, kind of delicate grace in and out of those kind of climates most
Yep.
of the time. Sometimes you'll get a snap weather change where it's like, what the fuck? But for the most part, it's a gradual shift. And so your body has time to adjust. But when you're like dealing with same thing with like time zone differences, like the speed that people used to travel, the amount of time it would have taken you to go by horse and buggy from Ottawa to Winnipeg, by the time you get to Winnipeg, your brain will have had no concept of time passing anyway. So that
Yeah.
whatever the hour or half hour doesn't make a huge difference. But when you can fly
Jessica,
there in a half an hour, a little different.
yeah, it was so different. Jess, I put the RK3 something something SM7B cover on my Mono PD100W. It kind of improves it, but since there aren't a lot of thick square windscreens selling, this works. Yeah, I mean, that's an expensive little windscreen to put on. I think those things are like $30. So
Oof.
damn. Dimebag's here. Hey, cheers, brother. Andrew says, "Oh, I meant weather systems move west to east in southern hemisphere, but it's west to the move west to east in southern, but it's west to east up north. No, it's east to west.
I will say that I love traveling west. Anytime
Yeah,
so far, I've been going to my satellite destination going east, and my home destination coming west. And it's always like coming west. Like when I went to Sydney, it was 16 hours on that leg from Vancouver to Sydney, straight southwest towards Australia. But then coming back, I shaved off like 2 hours.
yeah,
Just because of westerlies and all of the now a shitload more turbulence coming back. We sunk 20 30 feet in the air a couple times. I felt like, it's bad when they do that. I've learned Air Canada has a signal. They do like the chime that they do is like high low, high low, high low. If they do that, it means flight attendants sit the fuck down because we're about to hit
yeah.
something bad.
I take an anti-anxiety and I go to sleep. That's my
I
that's my
tried
trick.
melatonin. I actually did get like no medication. I got a few winks of sleep coming back. But I was still like 40 some odd hours without sleep by the time I was freaking half dead. But I asked my doctor, I was like, is there anything? He's like, yep, lorazepam. I'm done.
Yep.
There you go. He's like, don't get crazy with it. But he said, take 2 or 3. Again, this is not medical advice. This is what my physician told me to do. And so, but yeah. So next time I'm gonna take some very very delicately take some Ativan, knock me the frick out.
I was told by my doctor straight up, I got the main dose. It's not a light dose, it's a regular dose.
Yep.
She said, don't take more than 3 in 1 week. It is
In a week, yeah.
forming, almost instantly habit forming.
Yeah.
And so I've been like, I'm very careful. I make sure I take one and I'll space it out a couple days. And if I
That
need
was
another
what
one,
my guy said. He said, if you need something for the jet lag, and I actually adjusted to the jet lag relatively quickly.
yeah,
Like within a few days, I would say my body was getting sleep at the right time. Like I was kind of blessed in that respect. But coming back, it's been a little bit different.
yeah,
I've been dragging my ass coming back a little bit, but he said, if you need something for the jet lag, don't use this. I'm like you talk to me and we'll get you something else. But if it's literally just a one time for the plane, have
Yeah.
at her.
Plane dentist, it's all good. Dimebag
All the same
says the
shit.
crowd. Yeah, the crowd here is awesome. Yeah, actually, I really like our Friday crowd with the odd new person that drops in, which is always awesome. Photo Elite. Good evening, gentlemen. Just dropping by as I'm stuck in editing hell. Oh God,
Oh, Mazel tov.
I've got to do that this weekend. I'm going to be stuck in editing hell, both video and audio. So I feel it. Jan wants to know first class or business class in Air Canada. He didn't get either. He went in with his
I don't
legs
want
to
to
his.
throw anybody under the bus, but I was straight standard economy. At least I wasn't base economy, so I got to bring 2 carry-on bags.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, going for a week in Australia, you need a couple things with you.
A handful of stuff. I again, coming back, it was funny. I ended up getting a few of I don't know, Aiden, if you're familiar with the road trip book.
No.
Actually, it's shameless little plug here. Hang on. So they did this really nice book. It's got this nice kind of textured little show and tell here. A nice gold kind of road trip book inside this little box. And so
Nice.
this is like a whole historical of the company. And
no way.
it's a really nice book. Like they've got pictures of like some OG mic capsules that were being built in here and stuff. There's pictures of like Peter in testing their first acoustic chamber, their anechoic chamber there. Lots of kind of cool content. I don't know if you bought a lot of road stuff. It's like $50 or something, so it's not the cheapest thing in the world.
I'm gonna have to go order that.
It's got like pictures of and the coolest thing too on the surface, it's got little schematic etchings. I don't know if the camera can pick those up, but there's just
not
little.
really, but that looks cool.
Let me get that.
There, yeah, you can kind of see it. That's cool.
Yeah, these shiny little, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I don't know, just kind of nerdy stuff.
Hold it up one more time. I'm putting you solo here.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can see.
Is it? Let me know if it's blurry or if I'm trying to find the sweet spot.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got some little etchings there. Let me just flip to some pages here. Just really nicely done. Obviously, a picture of the big NT1 boy. Nice. Some capsules in there. Capsule shots. I haven't been through the whole book yet. I've been through a bit of it. It's interesting. There's a lot of story. There's pictures of parents. The beginning of kind of Friedman Electronics and his upbringing a little bit, and some heritage kind of heritage road photos and whatnot. It's really cool, actually. 50-year anniversary kind of thing. And so I got one of these to bring back.
When I did the video on the history of road, man, that would have been real helpful.
No shit. Yeah, there's some stuff in here, like some levels of detail that are probably, wow. I'd imagine whoever is maintaining the road Wikipedia page, if they're not a road employee, which they might not be, Wikipedia is weird like that. Probably managed to get this and transcribed everything that's in this book on a page. The Wikipedia crowd, man, they're hardcore when it comes to like maintaining details about people and things and companies. It's kind of, I know a few people that do it. That's like their main hobby is maintaining like 30 or 40 Wikipedia pages on stuff. And they're like right on the button. If something changes or if some celebrity has that thing happen in their life, it's like, all right, new chapter. We got to make a new heading in Wikipedia. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I knew a buddy of mine used to do that. Photo Elite says, I've never had jet lag going back and forth across the date line several times. I'm weird like that. I only get jet lag going west to east.
Yeah,
so I get jet lag when I go to Europe.
I haven't actually been to Europe yet. I mean, Road has an office and we got some colleagues in the UK, so I'm gonna have to take that 5-hour jaunt. So far, I've found, and again, maybe it's because I'm never like, I think the longest I've been in like away has been 2 weeks. Far this year, like I've been on 26 planes this year. I've been doing a lot of traveling this year.
Yeah, I go to when I went to Spain, when we were going to Ireland the first time, I like was falling asleep in the cab ride from the airport to the hotel. And it messed with me. And every time I go west to east, it just screws with me. When I go west when I go east to west, I have no issues. Like when I get to Nevada, when I got, we went to Hawaii. No issues whatsoever.
Yeah,
Not a
it
single one.
depends. I find like if I had flights at reasonable hours, my issue is usually the flights that I'm getting. Like I think one time I left let's see, when the last trip that I went to Seattle, I went from Ottawa to God. Oh yeah, Ottawa to Pearson, and then I left Pearson at 10:30 to go to Seattle, to go to SEA. And by the time I got to Seattle, it was 1 a.m.
Yeah.
By the time I got to the hotel, to my brain, it was 6 a.m. So that was rough. But if those flights were all within normal kind of waking hours, I don't think that the actual 3 hour difference going there doesn't mess with me that much. I do start getting tired, or I start getting like not wanting to work at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because my brain here still follows like a kind of a 9 to 5. Like that's when my brain is the most active, just from years in corporate. Um, but other than that, like I find after a day, I'm fine.
Jeez, I haven't been 9 to 5 in years. God. Sydney Opera House, 10 years late and 21 over budget and not complete to original design. Architect's family became upset as the architect was sacked. Funny history there. Gee, I'm sure that was.
Honestly,
Uh,
when you look at it in person, though, it looks way ahead of its time. Like
yeah.
in terms of the general architecture of it, like me and the Brits, again, we don't necessarily have a lot of understand or a lot of education around architecture, but like just the emotional impact of it, you see, it and you're like, man, that could have been built yesterday. Just again, looking at the outside stuff, it certainly seems ahead of its time. Maybe not as good as it could have been, obviously, but
Yeah. No kidding.
certainly better than my apartment.
Dimebag says, I'm tripping, man. Tripping balls? Love it.
Tripping
I like UK
balls.
says,
MDMA, man.
the book does look good. I kind of want to, I think I might order one.
It's cool. It's on shameless plug. Again, there's no affiliation. I don't care. I'm genuinely saying to get it because it's cool. It's on the Road website. If you go to their brand site or their kind of merch site, you can get there through their regular site. They have that. All the merch overall that I've gotten from them. Some things I've bought, some things I've been sent. Am I glitching again?
No, I was sitting here thinking, oh, why am I just looking at Dylan? Because it was just on your video, like literally.
Yeah,
I'm like
because I was on
the.
Yeah, we were staring at my face. Because we were
my
staring at the
God.
book.
Good, smart, Aiden, smart. I think that if there was more companies that release stuff like that, I would definitely buy them. It's not just a road thing. It's just the history of companies. Like the Shure history is fascinating.
It is.
Same thing with Sennheiser. Same thing with all of them. A lot of these companies have amazing histories. Rode, I think, is one of the more unique and very captivating because of the style by which they came up through the 90s and 2000s. Moving from Friedman to Rode, like that's
I think the fact that it's been a mixed bag. It's been a lot of successes. Obviously, there's a lot of lessons learned. One thing that Peter has said a few times is, you get the test first and the lesson afterwards. And I think he's certainly experienced that kind of pattern in his career. It's grown him a lot. It's a lot of tough times too. And the book kind of details a lot of that stuff. It's an interesting company story. It's not your IBM. It works in a lot of ways. Like they did a movie with Ashton Kutcher about like the upbringing of Apple, right? And that was also fraught with successes and failures. And I think in a lot of ways it's very similar. And I think, looking at the trajectory and kind of what's coming and what's happened and where the company is now, it's a similar trajectory, maybe in a different time frame, but similar acceleration. But yeah, it's a cool book. I would say if you can find it or order it, it's and it looks nice too. It's a nice kind of talking piece if you're an audio nerd. And
well, and yeah, like I mean, if you're into history especially, and you know what I mean, there's parallels between Rode and Apple the whole way through. They're just from product perspective, there's a lot of
and I found the pace, like when I was there, they operate at a certain pace. Like it's like make something awesome, do whatever you can, use whatever you can. And that there obviously are processes and there's strategies in place to make sure that the stuff is systematically sustainable and all that stuff. But as far as the actual like make a cool product, that's the direction, is literally just like make a cool product.
Yep.
Like I can't talk about them a ton, but I've got some stuff on my plate too, where I was literally approaching like design something that makes sense, like for this particular product, uh, like a back panel, for example, that makes sense. And just even if it's a sketch on a fucking napkin, quote unquote, like they're like, just what makes sense. Just ignore what we've already done. Ignore what everybody else is doing. Just what makes the most sense. And I'm like, oh man, that's a hell of a sandbox. And so I've
Yeah.
spent several hours daily kind of sitting, using the tools at my disposal to kind of design, be like, well, this would connect to that. And then that button would be for that because you need that to do this. We don't need a button for that because that can be automatic. And like, again, those kinds of things. It's a fun process. You're also kind of putting yourself out there a little bit, but I think you have to do that. You have to,
Well,
you have to jump sometimes before you can get a chance to calculate every little thing.
Well, it's interesting because I recently I've been working with a graphic designer. I'm redoing the logo. I'm integrating. I'm redoing the brand. Dark Corner Studios brand is getting a rebrand. And one of the interesting things that happened was, here's a guy that's been working in graphic design for years. Like we're talking 25 years. A good buddy of mine, and we're sitting down and we have like 6 different versions of the logo, all of which I think I'm going to be using in the final rollout, but for different things. And there was one that, so we're putting it together on his computer and he's masking layer over layer over layer. And one of the layers was overlapping the other layer and it was not intentionally overlapping. And he's like deleting layer, delete. And I'm like, dude, no, go back. And it was fascinating because he said, like, even for somebody working 25 years, what I saw when he was doing that, he would have never even seen that except for having another pair of eyes on that. And it's fascinating. You see a lot of the most successful companies that are creative tend to have that multi-eye approach where one person goes, this would be cool. Another person goes, dude, I see that, but let's one up it. Let's make it better. And then the
Yeah,
next person,
and
the same thing.
you definitely have to not get super attached. Like I'll fall on the sword a little bit here and tell a little bit of a story. So I had to pitch. Me and the chief technology officer had to present to Peter, the Peter in the Peter's office, and kind of show him where we're at with the project right now. And I had to put some audio in front of Peter, which is that you want to double check you want to double check the work if you're doing something like that. And I listened to it, and I was listening to it beforehand, going, kind of second guessing it. I'm like, I don't know. Again, in the scenario that this is captured from, and in the way that I would use it in that scenario, this is accurate. And so I'm like, okay, I'm sticking with it. I'm happy with it. Yay. I showed it to Peter, and Peter was not. He was flat out like, "Yeah." He said, It's good to see what the tool can do. I don't like the mix. I think the mix is shit. But it at least demonstrates kind of what you can get, and all of us in the room, obviously acknowledging that it's highly subjective. And the issue with the mix ended up being that it was very bright, and certain types of music I'm used to making in a live context. Right, because human bodies absorb lots of high frequency energy. For those that have ever mixed in a room with like 150 or 200 people in it or more, human bodies absorb, and high frequency energy is a lot more directional. Low frequency energy will kind of go around people. So if somebody is blocked by somebody else in front of them, they'll get the low frequency stuff. They won't get any high frequency stuff. And so I'm used to just making stuff in a live context brighter. And after, it's funny, we had a conversation in a room after, like the next day or 2 days later, and it was just like, we've learned that you like things very bright. I'm like, in a live context, yeah. And it's not that I want it bright; it's that I get complaints every time it's dark, and so I've learned to just default to a little bit brighter than I'm comfortable with. But it's highly subjective. And I think when you get in those rooms, whether it's a graphic design room, a photography room, more opinions are always better. I think
Well,
having the right opinions in the room is important. Like, obviously, don't bring a hip hop guy in to give your opinion on a rock track unless there's some kind
no.
of angle that you're trying to tie in there. Or somebody who does commercial photography to give an Andy Warhol type, to get an Andy Warhol type photography review.
But
But it is
I
good to
also
have
think
multiple people around.
the style of music you're used to doing and working with and working around tends to work with a brighter edge to it. The music I've heard from you, Time Worn is a great example, wasn't overly bright, but you can see where
No,
those
well, that's it. I
frequencies.
can point out lots of situations. I think too, to be honest, the radio business has really,
Yeah.
radio likes to really blast the high frequency on shit. Um,
Yeah.
and I've never fully agreed with it. I find it's just too cutting through my ears. But I could still register. Like in our case, we were testing a product, and we were kind of hitting the roof on a element of the signal path, and it was giving us some high end harshness that when we had spent hours voicing this thing, that it was, like, I don't think that's what I remember hearing the voicing. We're like, yeah, and a few others agreed, and it's like, okay, we found out that we're kind of saturating at a certain point, and the
Yeah.
sibilance is becoming extra sibilantized, sibilantized.
Yeah, it's
But again,
fascinating with
you got to go into any creative process with some kind of humility, and also be aware that, like, what you're hearing is not what everybody else is hearing.
yeah.
And every situation and the way that you're going to respond to it with the technology is going to be a little different.
Fascinating. Well, you had fun in Sydney, I'd imagine. That was yeah,
There's a lot of it
unique
I don't
experience.
remember. Pints were had. Uh, that's the, I don't know. That feels like it's the slogan of not even just this company in particular, but a lot of kind of more European-y countries, especially, or companies, especially like the challenger companies, right? The companies
Yeah.
that are kind of swoop in and do things quickly and efficiently, and smash people in the horns without them realizing it. Is there's work hard, play hard. That's the, bust your ass. But then after you bust your ass, yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. And so yeah, lots of good times. We spent a lot of money at a Japanese barbecue. Went through like 4 or 5 kilos of Kobe beef.
Oh,
um,
well, you started the 4 or 5 kilos of and I'm like, don't say that live on air.
and the sad thing is I don't know. We got pre beers because they didn't have our table ready, so we got complimentary pre beers. That was a bad idea because we were already going in there having had like 4 or 5 pints, and so I remember some of the I remember the beginning of the not the end of the
Action Podcast says evening chaps in chat, and I like a UK. Will there be any Friday streams this year, or will you be taking a break? No, we're going to keep going with the Friday streams as long as Dylan's schedule and my schedule don't conflict with it. Like there are some things Dylan just you can't get out of.
Yeah, I'm traveling a lot. It was a miracle that I was able to kind of cut in on my last Seattle stream, and that just happened to line up because again, like 5 p.m. is 2 o'clock. It's the middle of the afternoon for the West Coast folk for us. So, and there's usually lots of stuff going on because usually Friday is my last day in town. So we are shoehorning tons of crap into Friday afternoon. It just so happened the last one that I was, but yeah, like Sydney. If I wasn't like, and they urged me, like, oh, too bad you couldn't stay for the weekend. I'm like, well, I could have if we had planned that, if I had known that was an option.
Yeah. Over the Christmas period, I like it says. Yes, so we're going to be continuing.
Right.
Let me actually look at the schedule since I'm here.
Yeah, are we gonna? I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do you think we're gonna do like the usual year-end kind of chinwag?
I don't know. I haven't touched base with anyone. Bandrew's a little bit out. Here it is, calendar. Bandrew's kind of out of commission. I've messaged him a couple times. I haven't heard anything back, so I don't think me going, hey, do you want to sit down for an hour and like shoot the shit? I don't think that's gonna happen. So next week is the 19th. I don't see any issue with this live stream next week. The week after is Boxing Day. There will not be a live stream on Boxing Day. It's going to be mostly travel. And then January 2nd, as long as Dylan's available, I'm more than happy to do a live stream on January 2nd as well. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
should
the
be.
only
I don't know when my next travel is going to be, but obviously, I should be able to aid and let you know at least like a week or so out. Who knows?
yeah,
The
yeah.
new year is going to be a different year, I'm sure, but we will do it when we can. But and in terms of the pattern, I don't think there's any plans on either of our fronts to stop doing these.
No. And you know, I mean it's what is this? Oh yeah, over Christmas. It's I've noticed Bandrew is MIA. I hope he is well. Yes, he is well. He has found some interests that he is exploring. The best of my knowledge, that's what I know. Very happy, very doing what makes him happy, and I mean that's awesome. That's kind of what you want to
Expert
hear.
gatekeeping. Aiden's gotten media training. You could tell.
Well, well, no, it's also like I'm trying to respect his boundaries of what
Yeah,
I know
no,
as
fully.
well.
Yeah. No,
And
the way you did that so fly, being like, I'm not going to fucking tell you, but I'm
yeah,
not gonna
but
weave it into this word
but
salad.
he is but he is well, like he is very well, and he's really like he put out a video I think a week and a half ago, and yeah, he's you know he's still got it going on, but he's from what I know he's doing very well. So but for the live stream I've considered reaching out to a few people. This December has been a little wild. Part of it is because of, well, actually, the headphones I'm wearing and the microphone I'm using. This is the CC8 CC8 from Austrian Audio, and these are the Austrian Audio headphones. These are
When
the
you give me those
5-year.
mics back, I want those mics back.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm still using them at the moment, but yes, you're welcome to use them.
Yeah,
And I will store them at your house indefinitely.
yes, you will.
Um, but yeah, these are the 5-year headphones. So I've got a review coming on these, got a review coming on this, and it's just been really busy. So I don't know if I'm gonna have the time to really crush one of those out either, which is sad because I absolutely love those live streams. They're a lot of fun. And they're pretty simple to do, but yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see if I can get anything together. Beresford,
Curtis.
he's pursuing other creative endeavors. Indeed. Never, Dylan, you aren't getting them back. That's Jess. Jess says that.
Fair.
Somehow Jess is our intermediary at the moment. So
Hey, Jess,
yeah,
fuck off. I was
the OC18 and the OC818, I'll
was
bring them
gonna
over.
actually agree with you on the Apple keyboards, but I don't want it.
I actually plan on I'm doing the OC8 or the CC8, which I will actually include in that package to send over to you so you can play around with this pencil mic. This is actually a decent little vocal mic.
I think Jess and I are going to go into a bidding war to get those mics.
Well, I'll do, yeah, okay, I'm okay with this actually.
Yeah, it's all profit.
I owe Dylan, so it's got to go to Dylan. But yeah, I'm going to be using probably the OC818 for this video for the CC8 because I want to put it into whatchamacallit, mid-side with this. So I'm probably going to mess around. I actually purchased one of the small little mic stands that you have set up behind you there.
Nice, yeah.
You know, so I purchased one of those so I can do a proper setup. So I'm going to do that. I'm messing around. One of the things I really wanted to do is I'm showing off the point of a pencil mic like this is to actually highlight the attack of an instrument. And that's kind of the important thing I'm trying to highlight is hearing the attack of an instrument with a pencil mic is very easy to do. And so I've got my acoustic bass behind me and I've got a bass line. I'm going to put some music together and mess around with it and see if I can get some fun sounding music. But yeah. Anyway,
You know what I learned recently? I don't know why I didn't go here, but the NTR, I think we've talked about the NTR on this a few times.
Yep.
Fantastic on upright bass.
Oh.
I don't know why I didn't, because I remember the last time I did an upright bass, I used it was at a studio with the Coles 4038. Fantastic ribbon mic. And I just haven't had that idea recently. And yeah, man. Oh, those lows. Oh, and they're not like, I don't know. Sometimes you put a mic on a double bass and you get a lot of like the annoying scoopy, woofy, like high low LF frequencies, if that makes any sense, like the
Yep.
250, 500 kind of
Yes,
in
the
there, and
resonance of the body.
yeah, well, because the actual body of it's is got that, and the wood itself I find just has, depending on the double bass, the upright bass, obviously, but for some the NTR, I don't know if it's just because the element moves a little bit slower than your traditional, like, gold sputtered condenser, or
Yeah, yeah.
SDC. It just seems to just not be so offensive in that area. With ribbons in general, but I was pleased the NTR, like the noise response on that. I really want to make some of those soon, man. 'Cause I want one more. I want another one. I will buy it. I don't care. I just I
Yeah.
want another one. And if you see any NTRs on eBay or something come up, they don't come up very often. So I'm assuming everybody that has one seems to like them. So fuck you,
You
people.
can buy them. 1 second. Rode NTR. You can buy them. They're still available.
I think they're but aren't they all back order though? I think they're all back order.
Not all of them. I saw one Moog Audio, which is Canadian. You're talking like 1169. Oh, it's a special.
Are they
order.
actually? I thought Moog was an American.
Nope, that's
company.
Canadian.
Like Bob Moog.
Moog Audio.
So it's not related to the company?
I don't know, actually. That's actually a good question.
I just assumed when you said Moog, you meant Moog.
Moog. It's out of stock in Canada. Ooh. I can find out if there's any in like any in Canada here. So, product not
see, the thing
in
is,
this area.
we say Moog. We say Moog because we say it's 2 O's, and we say the 2 O's like roof. So we say Moog. In the States, it's 2 O's, but they say, Moog. Like Bob Moog was the guy's name. And so they say it like, because they say roof, Moog.
Poor Americans not understanding the Canadian tongue, Action Podcast says never.
Only certain words.
Only certain words, yeah, absolutely. Never tried a double bass. I wonder if being able to get something out of it being plain bass guitar for 20 years, a few breaks here and there. I actually, I had a friend of mine who had one that was a family heirloom. And I went in and I started messing around, and I had Seven Nation Army down in a matter of seconds. They're not that hard.
Did you have it? Did you have it down in tune?
Yes. Yeah. Actually,
did you have the intonation?
Oh, well, it was, yes. Well, I mean, the intonation I don't know how close it was.
Because the thing about the double bass, right, is you have no kind of pitch anchor points, and so your pitch anchor points are wherever your fucking finger lands, and you got the fanning of those notes, especially towards the top of the neck, which you need for Seven Nation Army, is much wider than even your standard, bass, which I don't have one around me right now, but your standard big block bass.
I just based it off the open string, so I was capable of hearing what sounded pretty decent, and it didn't take me that long to get there. However, if you're going to be doing it professionally, yeah, it's like any other instrument. There's similarities. I've played a fretless bass before, and I enjoy fretless bass sound. So yeah, I don't know. It all depends on how you wrap your head around music. So. I know Maono is pronounced mono. I'll never pronounce it mono. But it'll be un-American me to pronounce it right now. All right, guys, I've got to go for dinner. But yeah, we will be back definitely next week being the 19th. We will definitely be here playing around. I don't leave for Christmas until the 24th. I'm shooting a video in Toronto with Minds of Madness on the 26th because I got Sennheiser to help him out to build a video setup inside his incredibly expensive studio. So we're going to be playing around in there, and I've got to do a video about that setup because he's doing video now, and I am now the editor for that video. So I'm going to be in editing hell this weekend as well. So, but other than that, anything else, Dylan?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, see you next week. I also got Hogwarts Legacy free on the Epic Game Store. Nice. All right, guys. Cheers. We'll see you next week.
Also, elbows up. And